We have had non-stop bangers today. Specifically, the last game was pretty wild for a whole combination of reasons. But now we get into a battle of two very well-known organizations, Vince, going head-to-head in quite an important game here on Anubis. Sprout up against Heroic.
Yeah, this is another one of those games that definitely caught the eye. Maybe not the Sprout that we'd expect. You know, they've lost some of their plays. Lonks, for example, has gone to greener pastures, and some of the others have kind of slipped and slid away. But you still got Zyphon, you still got Slime there. These are very capable players. Already the first pick has come into fruition as in comes Shush. And Lily's going to get himself a fair bit of damage. He has to fall back there. I think he got Goosh from one of those Glocks. Down to 13, he will fall. And already Heroic lights out. However, bomb drops into the open. Crossfire in. Shush gets both. Spinning and pivoting around like a turret. 180 degrees. Snatches the life away of two.
That was absolutely clinical, mate. Heads up plays. Silencing the haters on that one. As Shush battles back. And Lele waiting out towards the spawn. Hits the head of Tessa. Smart read onto the second as well. Expecting the push to come in from Nikados. But flicks off at the angle at just the wrong time. And Heroic, with some absolute heroics from Shush, do lay claim to the opening pistol round. That's a big one to win, mate. That was really clinical from him.
Yeah, I mean, those two kills that he gets when he just pivots back and forth pretty much seal the deal. Because keep in mind, the bomb would drop down from mid. So if he goes down, the bomb is in such an awkward position. Crossfire can be established, and this round could have just got out of control for Heroic. So a huge turn of events puts Sprout onto the back foot. All 5 players stacked together. Lump Sum going to be pushing out onto the main side. There are 3 players out here. 2 Mac 10s. In fact, no, there's an MP7 in play. A bit of an orthodox position, but Zyphon gets 2 USP headshots? How?
Mate, that's madness. A corker from Zyphon hits the bullseye with that one and does a nice amount of damage. Nertz on the lurk is able to push his way in though and find a frag back to at least create a bit of space for them into the round. So a 3 versus 3, firearms in play for the CT side of Sprout now that are going to be looking to put them to good use. But Nertz always up for a bit of a scrap, isn't he? Pushes into CT spawn, does a ton of damage onto them and leaves them looking a bit green around the gills now for the retake, Vince.
I mean, this is a bit of a disaster piece of a round if you're Heroic. Even if you win, you've effectively lost 3 rifles here because one of your remaining players is the Mac 10 player. So you've got an MP7 on the ground and you've got multiple rifles as well. That is absolutely brutal. And 2 AK-47s will be taken into the next round for Sprout. As far as this goes, this is a W for Sprout. Yes, it'll read 2-0 on the scoreboard, but Sprout have such a huge pivot to just spring off into this round. They don't have to repurchase 2 M4s. They can stack tons of utility. This is going to be such a strong buy for the 3rd round on a CT side for Anubis. That is a big, big whiff if you're Heroic. They had to do better with that situation.
My, oh my. These rounds are already looking pretty interesting with how it is just individualistic Counter-Strike that's winning them these rounds. Could have gone either way. The setup they had with the AK at the front line feels a bit spooky, but it's one of those where you kind of repeat that a good few times in a row. You're probably going to favor having the SMG on entry every single time. So lucky they were able to quell the bleeding as quick as they were. Here you leave the bomb a bit further back, round towards the stairway by B canals. You've got 2 players pushing in for the early contact on A. Set up from Rouse. He's going to be playing up towards Heaven. Has a smoke for first contact if he needs it, just peeking on the angle. You've got the shadow advantage to work with. Sees them bypassing their way in. Kicksand's coming in for the rotate to back up the boys as well. You've also still got camera control and no pressure's been applied on middle. The nade's a nasty one, Vince. Chunks its way through Rouse, tries to pepper his way into the smoke, and Zyphon's rotated into assist.
Done a really good job of just brute forcing their way onto the site with utility behind it. A clenched fist to just smack away the CTs. It could just be a save. Low HP and a couple of players. They walk into Nertz, who probably should have done better. He was the ace in the hole that they were hoping would clean this round and savage the economy of Sprout, which is built nicely as a result of those 2 saved AKs. And this will allow Slime or CJot to just drop a weapon across Anileli likely will die. Has to move away from the bomb radius. In fact, pardon me, that's the other side of the map. So you can actually hold this position. I don't think that Tessis will bother playing aggressively behind this. So it looks like we could just be down to 4 CTs saving. And that means they can just go again into this next round, Jacky. They're good to go. They could even drop an AWP if Slime is feeling it. It's got 5.2k.
Money's there.
He does.
He's going to go for it, bud. Straight in on the old big green. Dons it. Thing is with Anubis as well, I love a bit of CT side play on Anubis, bud, because it feels like you really can sort of set the pace of the game with the AWP. You can take those fights. It feels more reminiscent of what we used to see sort of old school Dust 2, right? Where if you want to go for a pick and run the risk, you peek B canals, you peek connector, wide swing on mid, or just play back towards A site heaven. You can do a lot with a weapon. Here, it's a bit awkward in terms of the timing. Going for the crossover outside of B main. Zyphon caught with a Molotov on either side, has to peek. Slime nearly rips his way through too, but only shuts down the first man. Wide on the face as well from Kicksound with the Khalil. Gets a bit gory on entry. And they've actually won pretty much every one of their individual fights here relatively cleanly. You probably just want to save what you've got in the palms of the hands for the CT side now, but you're being flanked. Shush is walking his way up through camera. Timing's there for him to actually get close towards rousing CT, but they're both just going to back off and look for the save here if they can save it. And that's a big if. Ooh.
CJ will have no safe weapon in Shush. Showing the pistol round was not a fluke. The AK is just as powerful in his hands. And to me, Jacky, it was nice utility to kick things off just on the A-side main, or B-side main, I should say, play with the Molotovs, forcing out a couple players into the open, and it's just a case of dividing and conquering them. But after that point, it just felt like every duel went the way of Heroic. You see players pop up in dark, insta-headshot. One goes onto the B-side, insta-headshot. Just everything went the way of Heroic. A far cry from that second round where everything went to pieces.
Do like the fact we see an instant timeout called as well. So Sprout at least opt to reset the momentum as best possible and favor themselves. Orb still there for Slime. Kind of your second chance with a weapon, but this time you need to do a little bit more. You have basically given one as a freebie over to Nikados as well. Obviously on the Orb, if you give him a nice spawn, which in this situation he has got to either take the fight down B canals or round towards the A site, he could look for a freebie. No one going to challenge him though. No wide swing down on cons. They're just playing their angles with relatively aggressive setups here. You've got the two-player close setup round towards A, where you play behind the pillar, and Rouse basically just plays anti-flash from contact. It's a bit risky for the AWPer, but if you hit the shots, Vince, he could definitely lay a sucker punch on him.
100%. Oh, Slime. Get that smoke down as soon as possible. HE up, going to clear the smoke so you can have a peek in with his AWP, but no one's home. The T's have already vacated the premises, and they have their eyes trained elsewhere, but they put a lot of their attention over here on the B side of the map. Only one, which is Nertz, is watching the lurk. We've seen him do this before. He did miss out on his spray and Anileli a couple rounds ago. And now they're going to look for that push. Kickson with the entry onto Rawls, and now that opens up the floodgates. It's all on Slime. Good flick, but he knows better than to overstay his welcome. He got the kill he was looking for. Nertz's spray is good, catches CJ off guard, and that's going to play hell with Sprout's rotation.
Nertz is so nasty on the lurk, man. You can see he's been trying to build into these sort of late round plays quite a few times in the game already over the course of the first 5 rounds. Here, though, it's about the full frontal assault. What's the retake looking like from Sprout? Utility-wise, he's basically bone dry. It's only a smoke to work with, and they're getting smoked, literally. Tessus and Kickstand pick up a headshot apiece. Slime with the over-aggressive flick misses the target, and the wheels come off for Sprout. The second opportunity at the AWP for Slime does not find any success. And this is a rough way to start the game. CT side of Anubis as well, Vince. You got to get a bit of something, right? You got to get something going over the course of these first 5 rounds. You can't afford to feed any more to Heroic this early.
It's also the curse of MR12, isn't it, on that CT side? Like, if you start slow, if you stall in the first couple of rounds, rifle rounds, I should say, your back is already pinned against the wall. And yes, Anubis can be very T-sided. You know, I don't think they'll be pushing the panic button just yet. but we're getting towards that stage where they can hear the alarm bells ringing in the distance, the reverberations across the floor. So they're going to need some success. This one's a bit of a write-off. You got Deagles, you got an MP9 in play. I mean, we've seen teams definitely pull these rounds out with their backside, but the way Heroic have been playing, to me, they've been so crisp with their aim. Molotov's on point as well to force away and evict any of those CTs from the middle presence. But he's managed to bypass, thread the eye of the needle as C-Jot through the molly, but through the fire and the flames, Tessis douses him down with the AK and now makes moves of his own. Maybe Slime can get a cheeky little peek into a headshot. That's exactly what comes up. And he manages to stay in position, but maybe overstays his welcome, and Nikodos pushes him out of the round with the AWP. So Heroic maintain the player advantage once more.
And Nertz again, up to his old tricks. Biding his time, lying in wait outside of B. With Kixan as backup, Nertz baits the peak. Kixan starts to look for the backstab. Analele able to get away with a second one as he silences Shush and at least forces it down to a 1v2. Deagle in the hands of Rouse. If you can land your shots with this hand cannon, there's still room for you in the round. Edges his way out through the smoke. Kixan's got to look for the pickup. Nikodos has at least cleared it. Baited with the tap on the bomb to go for the swing back out with the AWP. Actually hits the no-scope on that one as well. So takes the freebie all the way to the bank. And Heroic guarantee themselves a 6th round. Sprout reinvest. Money's there. You got to spend it because the loss bonus is bubbling at this point. And Slime dons an AWP, Vince, but something's got to change. We're seeing little moments, the odd frag here and there, but it's got to be more consistent from him.
And I mean, you're absolutely on the money as well. The odd frag here or there, they have like 12 kills amongst the entire squad here, Sprout. To put that in perspective, they're not even averaging 2 around at this point. They're barely denting the economy of Heroic, and that's why you're seeing players up at the $8,000 mark and looking very comfortable in the process. It's more of the same. C-Jot's woes continue. 37 ADR, just the one frag, and he is the first to bite the dust in this round, quite literally, on middle side. So Heroic's dominance just continues. And it feels like Sprout have run out of ideas. They've run out of steam. They don't really have much in return, but maybe Zypher is the man for the job as he picks up 3, collecting his skulls left and right. And Slime puts an end to Shush. Surely this is Sprout's first round that they're going to pick up. Surely they don't let this one slip.
You got yourself in pole position. They've just got to finish things. Nertz. He's a smart player. He knows how to bide his time, how to play confidently in a clutch situation. Nerves of steel on him. And he's got the aim to back it up as well. Knows he's got time on the clock here. Isn't going to force the issue. Isn't going to rush things. Opts to go for the full rotate the whole way back round out through middle. There is cash in the back pocket for Heroic, but it's limited on 1 or 2 players. He can still run the risk of looking for picks, though. 25 seconds on the time. Analele's going to peek. Crosshair adjustment slightly delayed. And he gets slayed because of it. First round finally secured for Sprout. And honestly, that entire round goes off the back of Zyphon. Strikes really quite cleanly there. 3 frags in the blink of an eye, backed up by Slime as he finally picks one up with the AWP as well. And more importantly, you keep those weapons in fruition, Vince. This isn't a round that they've limped through and lost their buy. They still have their weapons and can reuse those now into the 8th.
Precisely that. They've got a glimmer. A small glimmer of hope. But that's all it is right now. They have to build off it. They can't rest on their laurels. They can't assume that this is their way back in, because Heroic have been dominant so far on this T half. Kixan just behind the smoke. Throws the up and over nade to allow his teammates to burst through on main, but a good counter flash is there. Zyphon and Aleli both coming with kills, but the strength in numbers is starting to win out in this encounter. Nade to afford the peak from C-Jot, and he gets the upper hand. Dark now pivots in from Zyphon, who continues to impress with the A1S, and although Analeli goes in for a little bit of a barbecue, it doesn't necessarily matter. Sprout have strung 2 rounds together.
I think what's happened there, Vince, is Zyphon said, I think we should turn up the heat, and he took it a little bit too literally. He's cooked himself, but they are cooking now, at least metaphorically into the game. Zyphon's really starting to show some huge firepower. 8 frags to his name, 113 ADR, getting into the groove of things. Timing on the backstab was beautiful and showed confidence in the play as well. Heroic do take one of their tactical timeouts. They're going to call this one in right now and see if they can ice out the momentum that's beginning to be built up by Sprout. It's a heads-up play. It makes sense. You've still got 4 rounds left into the half, including this one, going into the 9th. So you want to try and battle back as much as possible and stop there from being a potential buffer built on the side of Sprout. What are Sprout going to be doing? Can they maintain this pace that they're showing us?
That is a very important question, and one that we're going to find the answer out right now. 2-6. Still heavily in favor of Heroic, but again, Anubis can be a T side, and a very strong one at that. So Sprout can ease themselves back into this yet. Shush, who was very strong in the opening few rounds, has slowed down just a little bit. Down to the Deagle. XG in play from Kixan, interestingly, with 3 AKs alongside it, but it's Zyphon continues to twist the knife in the side of Heroic, moves to 9 kills, had the highest ADR coming into this round with 113, and he's gone from strength to strength, from frag to frag. It's another headshot, but there is Shush with the Deagle, and 2 quickly cave in from his hand. Kixan picks up a weakened Zyphon, and although he may go down to Seajot, he may very well have just dodged those bullets. Shush out of nowhere has put Heroic in a huge advantage, but Slime could still snatch this one away.
48 seconds left on the clock here then. Slime clearing his angles, making his move, slowly slithering into position. Oh, Vince! That's a bad miss. You can't afford to miss a shot like that. Seajot's the only one standing. He's going to panic a bit on the pitter-patter of bullets that come out the barrel as well. This is not a swell round to be in at the minute. Pressure is going to be swelling though. Mounting, head thumping. Seajot bounds out through the smoke, but misses his opportunity as Shush takes another one for Heroic. Oh, bud. Vince, that was a round that looked like a Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Award because it was all slime and it wasn't good.
Oh, Slime and Stinky was that miss, wasn't it? Like, how does he miss it, Jacky? I don't want to be too harsh, but
it's just a rough one, bud.
Like, it's literally a do or die moment in the round. If he shuts that player down, the round very likely goes to Sprout. Instead, you're 7-2 behind. You're in an economic turmoil again with very low funds on everybody. P250 for Rawls, who's on 1 kill, by the way. And without Zyphon, where would Sprout be right now? Probably 9-0 behind, and pretty much it would be GG no re already. Nikodos, though, goes in, takes down Seajot, not for the first time. And out comes Nertz, lurking in the smoke, lurking in the shadows. Punishes Analelli, who was not up to the task. And Sprout are looking like they're gonna just be thumped out of this half. Because if they lose this round without saving any weapons, they're gonna be broken once again.
Barrage of nades to send them absolutely packing. Tuck tail and turn as they run back towards B, and who's there waiting for you to come wandering in to his lair, his domain? It's Nertz on the angle with the AK, couple body shots to secure that one as Rouse, he's going to be riled up, Slime's going to be shut down, and Zyphon should be the final piece of the puzzle to fall. Stands tall in the 1v1, grabs the AWP, but salvaging it and saving it into the next still isn't going to be easy. Kixan's going to come a swinging. Luckily, it's the only initial point of contact where they're really going to be able to run him down. Should at this point have secured the AWP save. That's one weapon brought in. But in reality, Vince, Zyphon's been the mean machine on the rifle. He's been the one that you'd prefer to see prioritized. He's going to have to drop the AWP back over to Slime. And at the minute, it feels like he's the one that should be standing there with a better weapon.
I mean, right now, Zyphon has 3 of his other players covered by himself. If you go Analelli, Seajot, and Rawls, or Slime, Rawls, and Seajot, he's basically doing it all alone. He's like that John Travolta meme where he's looking around, you know, from Pulp Fiction, but he's looking for his teammates, and no one's there. He's alone on the server.
It's madness, bud. He came alive so quickly into this one as well. All right, it only goes from bad to worse here into the 11th. Absolutely decimated, left black and blue, and just sent out of the server in seconds. You bruised, confidence is at an all-time low. Backstab into B from Nikadoz as Nika does take that one for free on Uanalele, and it's over. You know, this round's basically completely converted into a pickup for Heroic. They're going to be looking at 9 on the board. Even with the saved AWP, you've been flanked, and Nikadoz surely doesn't pull out the blade, does he?
Oh, he's looking for that second player, I think. They know he's mid. Good night, Rawls. Oh, he does get one. But he was also going to lose his life. Yeah, I thought for a second he was going to get shanked there, I'm not going to lie. Insult to injury, perhaps. Took mercy on him, took pity.
No wicked skeng man today.
Oh, man. I mean, as close as that last game was that we watched, and by the way, apparently, I've just read there that Vidar apparently were disqualified. We were talking about this before we got into the game, Jacky.
Damn,
apparently
okay.
That is now a thing, so OG will progress to the next stage.
Wow.
There you have it.
All right, for anyone that wasn't aware, apparently Vidar's coach was watching through Discord, which isn't allowed, apparently. It's in the rules, so obviously they should have known, but that was the choice they made, and they've been DQ'd because of it. That's rough, bud, as well, because for what it was, that was a pretty crazy game, Vince, so a bit of a shame all round on that one, but OG still in it.
Indeed, by the skin of their teeth. They won't feel particularly good about that one. But rules are there for a reason. Meanwhile, though, Sprout, speaking of not feeling good, there has been an absolute demolition. 9-2. Honestly, maybe a bit unfair to Heroic and how well they've played. Without Zyphon, this would honestly be 11-0. Sounds harsh, but he has been the shining light on either team. I mean, he's top fragging. The guy's top fragging, top ADR, and is still getting smashed 9-2. That's all you need to know. But of course, as I speak about him, he dies. The curse of the commentator is real, it's alive, but Slime does return the favor.
Usually it's Slime that causes a sticky situation, but in this one, he makes it out of one. Goes down in the end though. Cleaned up by Nerds, like a wet wipe, Vince. Finishes him off in seconds. And this isn't ideal at all. 27 seconds on the clock, a 2 versus 4, and as the T's come a knock in, they just fall over, giving up the last round at the end of the half, and that will be a 10-2 split with Heroic, the newly revitalized, reformed Heroic lineup, being able to basically waltz their way through that one pretty confidently. You know, only dropping 2 rounds on your T side of Anubis, it's pretty clean in all things considered. Now you're going into this position where you're going to have high confidence on a pistol. You take the pistol here, Vince, this could be as good as done.
Absolutely. I mean, Anubis can be T-sided, but not this T-sided. You're not really expecting, you know, like old school nuke vibes to come in, and obviously that was CT-sided anyway. But yeah, I mean, this is going to have to be a Herculean comeback if Sprout were to even get close. Especially when you consider how on point Heroic were looking in terms of like across the board. Their aim was just so good. I mean, we saw Shush in the first pistol get 3 kills, one of which was a straight up 180 click to the dome. And now he's going to be donning those dualies, multiple targets. It's a target-rich environment, but he gets nobody. Nuts, though, 2 kills. Nikados with 1. And in the blink of an eye, Rawls is last man standing on 33 ADR with 2 kills. It's not been his game today, but this would be one hell of a moment to show us what he is capable of. It's looking for all intents and purposes, though, Jacky, that Heroic are going to get the second pistol and be on the fast track to a very quick win.
It seems like it. With how this game's gone, they've been in cruise control the entire time. Rouse looking for the first. It's a freebie, sure, but they always had the security and safety net of the potential trades. Peek off the back of the contact, shut the man down, win off the back of the manpower advantage, overwhelm them, and take a much-needed pistol round that could now just project you to closing down the game pretty quickly here. You're 2 rounds away from finding your win over Sprout and continuing to move on. Heroic's run in the open qualifier looking good today, whereas for Sprout, The same cannot be said. It's been the Xiphon show, round in, round out, but he needs some help. Needs someone to bail him out here. And with the buy they're going to be having, it's basically just the deco. One Mac 10 in play. That's the only actual SMG. That's for CJOT. Everyone else delegated down to the Deagles. And you've got to just do something a bit crazy here, a bit balls to the walls. You know, you've got to throw sort of caution to the wind and go for a faster play. Go for a Wolfpack style mid take. Go for something aggressive through B canals, up connector. See if you can overwhelm them, or maybe a smoke break in towards the B site. It can't be default CS. You're just not going to win it with a buy like this.
Especially against a team like Heroic that have been on point when it comes to protocols, but also their aim as well. Like, it doesn't feel like this is the kind of game unless Xiphon like really tees off and just goes massive again, like nuclear. Then your options are looking pretty bleak. But they have started this round off pretty slow. Maybe trying to wait out those grenades so that they can then go for that Wolfpack, as you mentioned, through on mid. But the fact that the bomb is traversing its way over onto upper side of the canals doesn't really fill me with hope that that's what we're going to see. Smoke will dwindle away from main side just in a few moments alongside the con as well. So maybe that's where Sprout are going to pick their battles. But what we do know with this kind of weaponry is it has to be run and gun. Maybe you can tee it up. Maybe you can soften the CTs with a quick-fire Deagle headshot. But ultimately, you're going to have to get into the business end here if you Sprout. And you're going to have to do it fairly quickly. Tons of utility, though. That is the one thing they have going for them. Loads of flashes, loads of smokes. They do have a few bits of versatility, I think it's safe to say, up their sleeve. Whereas you look at the CTs, they have a flash and that's it left.
How much use can they get out of the util, though? That's the important question, right? You can have all the bells and whistles, but if you don't use it right, it's not going to help. They go in pretty dry here. A few flashbangs, but it's delayed on entry. Shush is able to play around the back of the pole with the assist from Nikodos and Kicksound. One by one, the T's are going down. Slime tries to back off, but he's caught in a nosedive. Finished off by the M4. Heroic make it the match point. And made it look quite clean as well. And again, Sprout, you're basically reliving the nightmare from the previous round, Vince. You know you've just got the pistols. You can buy the nades. But again, we're not really seeing the setup off the back for them to be worth it, for them to be paying off. It feels like if, honestly, could have invested into a couple Mat 10s here, maybe just play a quicker style of CS. That might have bailed them out a bit more.
100%. I mean, the way they played that round is like they were trying to catch the CTs off guard or in some kind of transition rotational period, but they didn't have the weaponry for it. They had another couple of Mac 10s. I mean, maybe they can just brute force their way in. So, felt like the initial call was changed. Not necessarily for the better. Did Rawls just get dinked from Nert with that MP7 instantly around the corner? I think he did. He's just dropped down to 42 HP. I mean, as if he wasn't tilted enough already, Jacky. He's got leaping Nerts. The leaping Israeli just popping his dome, is popping his noggin with an MP7, then smoking and molling so they can't even retaliate.
It's madness, mate. It's been quite fun watching how Nertz has approached this as well. Because obviously, 12 frags to his name, but the way he's played it, they've all been very smart lurk frags towards the B site on the T side. He's kind of that thorn in your side that you're always so frustrated at when you die. And that really can make the difference, especially qualifiers like this. You start to break players' mental, it makes it hard to reset. That's what it's felt like's happened this time around as well. Nikodo's basically given the gift of the free frag towards middle as they try and flash clear it. He plays anti, turns around, burns his way through CJOT, and it's just down to Slime. We've seen this situation before. He's panicked, Vince. He's sweating, and he's taken down by Nertz as the man will finish him.